Today is June 21st, 2022. Welcome to the Silver Creek School Corporation School Board of Trustees meeting. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. If we would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Ms. Franklin, and then the invocation followed by Ms. Bright.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time to come together and make decisions on behalf of our school system. I pray, Lord, that you would be with our students and staff over the summer, that they would have a relaxing and recharging time that equips them to come back and to serve our students. And I pray, Lord, that you would guide us as we make decisions tonight, that they would be in the best interest of Silver Creek. In Jesus' name, amen.
Roll call. Ms. Franklin.
Present.
Mr. Basham.
Here.
Ms. Bright.
Here.
Mr. Groen.
Present.
And I am present. We have quorum. Dr. Briggs, do you have any emergency additions, revisions to the agenda?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I do have some emergency additions and revisions. We're going to start under number 3, approval of minutes. Under letter B, I'm thinking last week's agenda that went out said May 24th work session. That should actually be May 23rd. I believe the agenda you're looking at reflects that, but just for the record, I want to make that change. Also, under number 3, approval of minutes, letter C, the May 24th, 2022 regular meeting. I'm going to strike that from tonight's agenda. Those minutes are not ready for your approval. Moving on to number 8, consent agenda. Under letter A, finances, Roman numeral 5, approval of the summer school stipend for Director of Health Services. I'm going to request that we move that to 9A. We'll come to 9A here in a moment. It's been added on your agenda at the table. So we're not striking that from the agenda. We're just moving it. That's why it's in still in the black print and with a strike through. Also, recommend that we delete under consent agenda number 8, letter A, finances number 6, the approval of the construction stipend. I recommend that we strike that from the agenda. And then moving on down under consent agenda, letter C, personnel, under Roman numeral 1, certified, under B, positions, Roman numeral number 2, I request to approve the position of special education inclusion teacher at Silver Creek Elementary School. And then under number 2, classified, under letter B, resignations, Janice Heil, cafeteria associate, effective 5/26/22. I recommend that we strike that from the agenda. Janice, in fact, did not resign, so we'd like to keep her on and have you not vote on that. And then going on to number 9, discussion action items. Again, that is the aforementioned letter 8A, Roman numeral 5, the approval of the summer school stipend for Director of Health Services. I recommend we put that as 9A. And then you'll notice, I believe on the agenda you have at your table, our next meeting dates. Again, this is not something you vote on, but just informational purposes. Our July 26th meeting, Silver Creek Primary is not available. So I recommend we move that meeting to Silver Creek Middle School as it is available. And that is it for additions and revisions.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Briggs. You've heard the superintendent's recommendations for emergency additions and revisions to the agenda. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
I so move.
Ms. Bright makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groen seconds. Any discussion needed? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. This time we'll also do the approval of minutes under section 3, A, B, D, and E for the May 11th work session, May 23rd work session, June 6th special meeting, and the June 6th work session. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
I so move.
Mr. Groen makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any discussion needed? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Briggs, this time do we have any recognition?
No, there is no recognition this
All right.
evening.
Next up, under number 5, Ms. Hawkins, Curriculum and Student Services.
All right, good evening. I want to start tonight with a spotlight. Tonight we want to celebrate Brittany Edrington for her outstanding work as our credit recovery teacher at Silver Creek High School during the 21-22 school year. Through her efforts, students recovered an amazing 260 credits. She was able to help many seniors earn coursework credits that they needed to graduate. With the class of 22, Miss Edrington worked very hard and is extremely dedicated to her students. So she is one of our spotlights tonight. And then our other spotlight, we want to celebrate our CFO, Assistant Superintendent Todd Balmer, for recently defending his dissertation and earning his doctorate of education. So congratulations, Dr. Balmer. We have a lot of professional development happening during the summer with our staff at Silver Creek as they prepare for the 22-23 school year. A list of that, we have Mrs. Kramer heading a summer book study at Silver Creek High School with 17 staff members using the book, The Framework of Poverty by Dr. Ruby Payne. Miss Casey Drain, our Director of Health Services, recently attended the Indiana Association of School Nurses Conference in Noblesville, and our SRO officer, Don Cordy, will be attending the National School Resource Officer Conference in Colorado in July. So we're excited for both of them to update the administrative team about things that they learned at those conferences. I was also able to attend the school budgeting and finance seminar at the Ivy Tech Conference Center in Annapolis last week, and that was very informative. We are also anticipating that 27 staff members will participate in a leadership academy led by Dr. Byron Ernest. Teachers will be compensated for a 6-hour session on Thursday, July 14th, and then they'll be expected to participate in sessions on Wednesday afternoons thereafter throughout the year. At the end of the program, there will definitely be a celebration for all of their work, and so we are very excited about being able to offer this opportunity to our staff. And then we also have 9 staff members from the primary and elementary that are completing week-long OG training sessions this summer, which aligns with our primary and elementary reading plans. Some other work in the area of curriculum and student services during the summer is mostly centered around grants, wrapping up our current ones and preparing to apply for the new ones. And we're also making plans for our second annual new staff orientation, which will take place on July 20th, and our first teacher day on July 26th. So that concludes my report tonight. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Hawkins? All right. Dr. Balmer, Finance and Operations.
Yes, good evening. Starting out with our monthly financial report for our 2 main funds, education operations through the end of May. So with our education, our beginning balance for this budget year, 2022, was $6,466,939.02. Our revenue, what we've received in through May, $8,723,197.14. Our year-to-date expenditures, $9,448,859.18, with an ending balance by the end of May, $5,741,276.98. We're expected to be spent about 38.46%. Right as of the end of May, we're right at 36.8% spent. That does not include, again, reconciling the 1300 fund. We will deal with that when we file for our additional appropriation with the DLGF later this year. Moving on to the operation fund, beginning balance for the 2022 budget year, $4,530,176.97. What we've received in through May, $1,260,143.86. Once again, there are 2 main revenues come from our taxes, which is in December and June. So when we see June, you will see that revenue go up quite a bit. Your expenditures to the end of May for the operation, $2,407,268.51, with an ending balance at the end of May of $3,383,052.32. We are expected again to be spent at this point about 38.46% spent. We're 28.6% as the end of May. Moving on with additional finance, what I'm learning is even though it might not be super busy at the buildings, it's extremely busy at central office when it comes to finance and operations. So right now we're working on going ahead and getting ready to prepare for the budget. So right now we're working on the budget calendar, and I'm working around our board meeting dates, and we'll have that to the board here very soon on what the budget calendar will look like coming to prepare for the 2023 budget. A lot of reporting going on, bargain report, our Form 9 report that'll be due once June 30th wraps up, two annual finance reports, one for the IDOE and one for Gateway that we'll be working on. So quite a bit of reporting that the state wants you to work on through the summer months. In operations, moving on, technology, a lot of exciting things going on there. We're upgrading our phone system. That's one of the things that we bought through our common school loan. So not only are we getting new phones, improving our systems, but Mr. Smith just did an excellent job. We're actually looking at a savings right at an estimated $17,000 a year. And that is just from us switching from the call manager to unified communications. And with prices going up, as you well know, everybody knows that we're seeing a lot of increase in our operational expenses. Just one example of that would be a pallet of paper. We've seen almost a $250 increase, and supposedly another one's coming here July 1st. So things like this are very important, that we look to see how we can save money as we're renewing contracts and those types of things. So kudos to Jerry Smith. Human Resources, I want to give Ms. Miller a shout just for wrapping up the classified handbook and our position controls, and Dr. Briggs in his overseeing that and ensuring that we're being very tedious and scrutinizing our positions, because that is an expense to the corporation. That's an ongoing expense. So you really have got to scrutinize that. So I think that was just a well thought out process in moving forward with that. So great job to Human Resources and Dr. Briggs. Transportation, summer school, just want to shout out to Ms. Kahafer for all her hard work. We think of summer school, the kids showing up and get that extra support, but we don't think of all the logistics and extra work that goes in ensuring that we can provide transportation. So a lot of hard work there. On our facility side, just want to let the board know that integration of our maintenance position is already paying off. We've already seen some contract services with plumbing and some electrical stuff that Kyle, our new position, has been able to help avoid and save some money there. So that is working out really well there. We're very pleased with what we're seeing so far with the hiring of that maintenance position. And of course, construction, the board did approve our base bids for our athletic field package. So very soon you're going to start seeing some earth moving and some very exciting things coming our way, beginning with the football field down there where the existing baseball field is now. And again, won't be attacking the new baseball and softball field until the football season's over. And that's all for finances and operations. Glad to take any questions you may have.
Any questions for Dr. Balmer? All right. This time, community input. We have a couple people signed up, but we'll take more if needed. First, we have Joan Mattingly. You can just take the podium right there. Ms. Hawkins, if you would, can you keep the tracker? Anybody provides community input has 3 minutes, and sure.
Hello, board members. Okay. I am representing a class of 1965. And I'm going to pass these down to you. This is high school press. Back in 1965, our class was the first class to go through the existing high school building. My grandpa always said, if you dream it and you believe in it, you can achieve it, okay? There's many people in my family that have been trailblazers. My sister's husband's brother lives in Corpus Christi, Texas. graduate of New Albany High School. When he was young, he was playing with airplanes all the time. When he moved to Corpus Christi, he had 5 girls. They said he could have a girls' basketball team. He went to college, got a degree in mechanical engineering. He worked with a lot of military people there. There's a lot of military bases in Corpus Christi and corporations that help the military there. He designed the Black Hawk helicopter, which our military uses in overseas operations today. He got the New Albany Alumni Distinguished Award at New Albany. He did several things, but that was one of them. You might have seen it in the Thunder Over Louisville program they had, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is our town. When you drive into Sellersburg, there's a sign there right across from Dairy Queen. Sellersburg, established 1890. Proud of the past, in touch with tomorrow. I, Joan Mattingly, am here today to help our school system and town be proud of the past emblem which has been thrown to the wayside in recent decades. Amidst the gun violence in our schools, malls, churches, and various places, today we have our elected government officials, that could be us here, you on the board, and their families attacked and even their lives threatened. It is the Silver Creek High School class of 1965 that I represent today. 112 active adults, but 36 are deceased. Silver Creek High School in the year of 2025 will be celebrating a 100-year anniversary of being in our local community, educating the youth of tomorrow. As an encouragement of how to behave in school and live as successful adults, our class would like to commemorate this occasion by donating a dragon crest emblem of aluminum structure in school colors to hang in the newly renovated Silver Creek High School building near the entrance for all to see, students and visitors alike. Our class, we've been working on this for 3 or 4 months. We have, if you all okay it, we have the typical school colors, orange, blue, silver, that will be on that. And the crest that you see in front of you, when they fabricate this for us, it will have 1925-2025, and underneath of it, it will have 100-year anniversary. Off to the side, we will have a plaque with 2 dragon heads shooting fire. It will be a wood plaque demonstrating the 4 things on this crest, which I'm going to read. Okay, this is what, when I went to school, this is what we have. I brought some books along with me. This was on my diploma. It was on my daughter's Scholastic Awards, her Achievement Awards. It was on my graduation program. And I have a little dish over here. When we graduated, it had a graduation cap with the dragon crest on it. And I'm not knocking progress, you guys, with all your electronic signs and things, but we should keep some of the things of the past that really represents the school, and I'm really vigilant about this. Number 1, the 2 hands. The 2 hands represent cooperation and getting along with people around you, no matter the race, religion, ethnic background, sex affiliation. It shows that we have unity for all and respect for all. Number 2, the lamp of knowledge. One must always strive to improve one's mental capabilities through reading, traveling, studying in school, learning from older people. Number 3, the ring with wings. One must strive to keep one's body in good shape to live a successful life. Number 4, 2 leaves with ribbons represent peace, treating all as equals, no bullying, no making fun of people, no ridiculing people, no badgering people. This plaque will give a description of the 4 icons or images, which I've just gone over, on which Silver Creek High School was so proudly founded. As a longtime member of this community, I know how important it is to instill into our youth of today moral rules to live by. When one travels, we as adults use road maps, GPS systems, or our cell phones or those units built into our cars. This is our way of helping today's youth navigate through school and later by society, establishing these icons which keep this image alive. I worked in business for 37 years, and I was a school teacher and educator for 10 to 12 years. This Silver Creek Crest, when I was at college at Bloomington, on the campus up there, I was there during the turbulent years of Vietnam. And I remember there was students rioting. We had a terrorist come in and set our graduate library on fire. And I would look at this dish in the crest, and I'd think to myself, you don't get involved in any of that. We have peace. We want to go by the Silver Creek things that we learned when we were in high school. My first 7 years was in the inner city schools of Louisville. They called them the ghetto schools. And even back in the 60s and 70s, students there had a rough way to go. I saw students knifed, killed in the schools. At Central High School in downtown Louisville, they would even have to lock the restrooms on the second, third, and fourth floors to keep students from being raped. I saw a lot during those years. Later on, I moved to a suburban school, Parkview Junior High in Greater Clark System, where I taught. And I also wanted to get a smattering of a country school. So the next year I went to Henryville High School, and I was teaching English, history, and music, of all things. I worked as a substitute teacher for a long time also. This crest would serve as a constant reminder of our students how they should behave in school, keep a good attitude while in school, and keep them vigilant that their actions always have consequences. All four things on the Dragon Crest Shield is our way of instilling into every student who walks through these halls, corridors, and entrance doorway. The crest represents a school which stands proud not only of its heritage and its past, its students, its principals, its teachers, its superintendents, its school board, everything. They will be, I believe at Silver Creek High School, is the only school that has such a symbol, this crest. New Albany has the Bulldogs, Jeff has the Red Devils, Charlestown Parts. Borden used to be the Berries. I heard they're changed to the Borden Braves. I try to keep up with stuff. And this is kind of interesting what's going on. And schools have changed a lot since I've been in school. If you get pregnant in school, you used to have to quit. Now, you go in Jeff High School, and some of these schools, you got a kid on each hand because you got pregnant. You want to continue your education, so you turn to the right. They have daycare centers in the schools, which is, I think, really a positive thing. I'm always for the positive, not the negative. These codes in the past, like I said, were on school diplomas, scholastic awards, athletic awards, and several other things. Our class believes that these moral standards of a crest are necessary for the preservation of a good society, for the educated and scientific advancement of society, and to keep our government free. This is our class's way of honoring Silver Creek High School on its 100th anniversary, the township, and our way of investing moral standards for future generations of students. Also, our class, when we started this project, we had to do some brainstorming. The men, of all things, they wanted to make a dragon crest that went from the floor all the way to the ceiling out of steel. I said, what are you a millionaire? Because that would cost a lot of money. I think it would be beautiful. They wanted to put a tube with orange and blue light shooting up from the floor and from the ceiling on this crest. That's like a big statue of Barbaro in front of Churchill Downs. That thing is massive. It costs, a whole bukus of money. After they brainstormed again, they wanted to do it in a lightweight steel. I have a friend that runs a stainless steel business. He has a table, $30,000 table that cuts out and etches images and you had to use a laser cutter to get a lot of details on this crest. And finally, we decided on Bond Sign Company and Jeff. They would make this out of a lightweight aluminum, and the cost would be considerable down from what the men had wanted. But it's still going to cost some money. We think about between $1,000 and $1,500 to do this. Our class is positive we can do this. We have quite some money in our budget to cover just about half of it now, but we're going to work on it, and we have some time left to do it before the school's finished. And also our group, we meet once a month, the class of 65 in a restaurant once a month. And we talk about things like this, and that's how we come up with this idea. The next session, they want me to, I told them I was coming before a school board here to present this. They want you to give me an answer, yes or no, in writing, if you can do that. I hope that's not asking a whole lot. And anyhow, they also have an idea. I don't know when the new high school is going to be finished, but when it's finished, they'd like to have some television stations come in when it's being presented to our superintendent and the board members. And also, I'm not in touch with what's going on in this new renovation, but I talked to the superintendent already and the principal. The principal's really excited about it. When you go up to the second floor, it's going to be a big archway. I think he wants to hang it up there. And I think if they could have floodlights installed there in orange and blue to shine on it, I think that'd be really cool. And maybe the same thing on the plaque. So that's why I was here today, to present you our idea and see. I'd like to have comments from some of you.
And speaking. Second of all, thank you for being a teacher and educating our students. Third, do you happen to know a size of this? Because you went from a floor ceiling to maybe a plaque on the
We're
wall.
going to have the plaque about 3 foot by 5 foot roughly.
Okay.
3 foot by 5 foot in lightweight aluminum. It will be orange and blue with silver.
Yeah, I just didn't know the dimensions. So 3 by 5.
But we don't want it to shiny silver where it's going to reflect light.
Sure.
It will be like a subdued silver, because we want it to stand out, and we don't want to put something on the wall that's not going to be elegant. We want something that's going to be elegant and look nice.
Yeah.
Something that everybody will be proud of in the community. You know, I have some things I want to show you. Okay, this is my diploma from Silver Creek. You can pass it around, it has the dragon crest on it.
Thanks for letting us know the dimensions, because that's something I was wondering too, like Scott, because you'd mentioned first that it would be really big. So I'd wondered what you all had. Yeah. And that seems a lot more reasonable size. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it is. I think it's the one we. Again, like these guys, I'm very appreciative, and it's very generous of you in a class of 65. I do believe that there is probably a spot in our school for it. What I would say is maybe a problem right now is we haven't even began construction yet, and we're probably a few years off. I don't know that we could commit exactly where it would be, but right. But you had mentioned that you're in communication with Dr. Briggs, right? Our superintendent? Yes, absolutely.
So many buildings. I mean, she went to Silver, and she was very active. She's on the tennis team for a lot of years, a flag girl in the band. basketball team, basketball manager, but I think they had the direct press on her scholarship award. I'm putting Kleenex here. But on her diploma, they had the seal of Indiana. I'll pass this around. And then when she graduated, the press was on that, so you guys can see this.
Well, thanks for sharing with us the history of this crest. I'll be honest, I wasn't aware of it. So we definitely appreciate you coming out and explaining.
My grandparents grew up in Alabama, west of a cement plant. And my last job, Joe knows, I worked at a cement plant in production for 27 years. I was in the grinding mills. And, you know, when you work in the industry, run across a lot of people in the community.
Well, Ms. Jones, I think what we'll end up doing is we'll talk about it amongst us. Like Chris had stated, that we'll turn around and we'll be in communications with Dr. Briggs and what you talk with him about. And just kind of reiterate what Chris said as well. Until we get to that true design phase where we go, I can't commit to where it would go. I think it's a great offering from the class of 1965. We truly appreciate you all. We appreciate being part of the rich history that we are Silver Creek. So
Yes,
I appreciate you coming out
thank you so much
tonight.
for having so much pride in Silver Creek.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Great
We
to
all
see
took
that.
pride in our school back then.
You're right, and it's nice to see that come out here because a lot of us like, oh, I mean, just seeing the history behind it, seeing some of the stuff, the gifts that I've never even seen that before. So that's
My
pretty neat.
grandpa that had a farm over here, his house that I'm trying to get into the Indiana Historical Homes. It was a way station or stagecoach line in pioneer days. For my age, I'm pretty active, I guess you can tell. And I'm also in the, being in the Daughters of American Revolution, I'm up for membership in that, and I've already submitted all my paperwork. And I'm also on a never committee with the veterans of the town of Clarksville to get my uncle on a war memorial. He was a hero in World War II. My whole family, they are what I call people that are pioneers in their own fields. You was talking about communication. My sister's two youngest boys are heads of phone companies in this area. They travel to the Philippine Islands once a month. My daughter is in marketing. When she was in Silver Creek High School, they told her she wasn't college material. She's underneath the CEOs in Humana in Clearwater, Florida, and she has a lot of studying groups on diabetic sleep apnea, groups under her. My grandpa over here couldn't read or write, but I'm proud of him. Of the next generation, my family got high school diplomas. My generation, we got college degrees. Within 3 generations, we went from not being able to write to high school to college graduates. So we know how important education is.
It sounds like you know a lot about just education in general and what's important. And I hate to cut you off because
I'm done.
and love
I'm
and
done.
enjoying hearing you talk,
Yeah,
but we do
yeah.
have people that are at home on an online audience
Yes,
who
yeah.
are probably got only a certain amount of time to spare tonight for their the
Okay.
meeting. So, but all your information's great. Thank you for sharing it with us. Get me to bring this up. I'll walk this up.
Yeah, and you're more than welcome to stick around. I'd love to continue the conversation once the board meeting is over. It's a lot of great history. Next up, I believe, did John replace Jeffrey? Did I get that? Or is it vice versa? Okay, so you both want to speak then? Okay, who wants to go first? What's your name? Vet? Okay, before you come up, can you sign this document? Because I've only got one person signed up.
It was really lovely, Miss Mattingly, to hear about your pride in the school and the history that you shared. That was very beautiful to know, you know, how committed our classes are to the school. you really quickly. Good evening, members of the board. I came here tonight to address questions that I had concerning the grading policy, specifically semester grade calculation. I'd like to begin by stating that I firmly believe in the value of testing. I'm also not here to request a return to weighted grading, meaning giving extra weight to honors classes or final grades achieved that exceed an A+ when calculating not semester grades, but overall GPA. As several of you may know, my daughter suffers a hearing deficit for which she has an IEP, but I didn't come here to address her barriers. My issue relates to the effort that each student expends each quarter toward achieving their highest potential scores. My understanding is that dispensing with weighted grading, which if you recall, certain classes bore more weight than others with honors classes, and so that was disparate for some students because some students weren't taking honors classes, others were, and that created disparities in opportunity. So dispensing with weighted grading affords more students the access to competitive college admission standards. In making this change, the board did not diminish each student's work ethic or contribution to their grades. However, the policy concerning semester grade calculations has done just this. In calculating semester grades, the efforts that students earning higher than an A, meaning acquiring extra credit, doing extra assignments, and attempting to achieve their best results are diminished by this policy. And here is my example. So I shared my daughter's grades and it's for chemistry. She received a 104.1 her first quarter, a 98 her second quarter. My daughter, with her deficit, she sometimes has testing issues, so she received a 78. If you were to look at just weighting, just the way that the policy, the semester grading policy reads, quarter grades count for 3, and then the final grade counts for 1 in that tabulation. However, the school corporation uses grade point average in place of the points and percentages that are calculated for grades. So in the case of my daughter, if a 93, if you use GPA, a 92.5, I believe, is the standard. So it's just 4, but it becomes a 4.0. You multiply that by 3, that's 12. Do that again for the second semester because she just have a strict A. And in that case, that'd be another 12 points, and then her semester grade would be that C average. So it gives her an A-. If you were to tabulate that on straight percentages and points earned, she'd have a 97 grade average. So you dispense with, because an A is a 93, she attained a 104, you dispense with 11 points there that she earned through extra credit, extra grades, extra effort. On the second quarter, a 93 again is an A, so you dispense with 5 points between a 93 and a 95 for extra effort, extra credit, extra grades earned. I understand in the final grade, having a 4.0 to give opportunity, but you dispense with all of those extra efforts that students make for the extra points that they earn throughout the whole year. And that's a big disparity when you're considering 16 points across 2 quarters that she earned through extra credit, extra effort. Our chemistry teacher, Miss Anderson, who my daughter thoroughly enjoyed, described this best when she revealed to me that any student earning less than a B on their final exam grade had no opportunity to earn an A in the class for that semester, regardless of the efforts made toward performing extra credit and going above and beyond what was asked of them. While the policy doesn't read this way, in essence, it operates in this way, in that no student earning below a B on their final exam can actually achieve an A just by tabulation. It's impossible. And my daughter was only 2 points below the B. She had a 78. So As educators and college graduates, we all understand that exerted efforts that we each made to obtain our final grades, and nowhere have I experienced in my collegiate career that every point didn't matter. When we, in tabulations in college, which their real world experience is going to be college, and no policy at the universities, and I don't know if you all have experienced this, but every point mattered to me because that was my final grade tabulation, and that's where this is going to extrapolate to real world experience. Points absolutely mattered. And for those of us that struggled with test proficiencies because of working jobs, learning disabilities, or family responsibilities, we can appreciate how much each point matters. I want to reiterate that I'm not asking for a reintroduction of weighted grading. An A is an A when you look at the overall picture of wanting students to have the best opportunity to access their higher education. With the final grade tabulation, it's reasonable to be fair to students across the board, to be able to give them the highest potential. However, an A minus is not an A in this tabulation, which is how we're eliminating a lot of points for students in tabulating that final calculation. And the final grade for the semester should be representative of every student's efforts. My daughter attended an admissions seminar at the University of Washington as a gift from her brother for her 16th birthday. The admissions counselor stated that what they look for is exemplary effort in students taking classes that are not simply required of them, but that go above and beyond their call. Why diminish those efforts for students that have attained the highest level of achievement in a class, an A+ quarter grade, because of one test score? Tests are needed and do reflect the knowledge acquired over the course of a subject, but work ethic should be heavily considered here too. Your own grading policy reflects this in that the quarter grades are given 3 times more consideration than a final exam grade alone. A 92.5 is not a 104.1, nor is it a 98. The latter grades represent hours of hard work that should not be discounted. When calculating Olivia's final grade, or any student's final grade really, using the raw percentages that she earned and the weight specified in the handbook's policy, Olivia has earned roughly, and I had a 96, but we actually tabulated she had a 97.74, which was a solid A. Your policy doesn't stipulate that you use GPA for each quarter. If you read the semester grading, it doesn't specifically stipulate that you utilize GPA. That's been what's been practiced, but it's actually not outlined in the policy specifically. And the final exam, you don't use GPA for the quarter and the final exam when calculating final grades. In doing so, you eliminate the points that are hard earned throughout the course of an entire year. Don't diminish my daughter's efforts or any other student's efforts. It diminishes their drive to achieve more than what is required. Thank you for the time. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today.
Thank you. Can I ask you one question? I just want to verify.
Sure.
So you're saying that the grading that she received in chemistry
Yes.
is different than what our policy is on the grading system?
So that what the policy reads on the semester grades is that semester grades, the tabulation is just that quarters are weighted three times, 3/7, and that the final grade is 1/7. But nowhere in the policy as it's written does it stipulate that you basically translate that to a 4.0 as an A. I think points are very relevant when you're actually calculating the grade to then achieve that A or A minus or whatever that may be. All of those points are earned. And, one of the things for my daughter is when she did all of that extra credit, and we did quite a bit. We made videos and did everything that was necessary because she understands that she has more difficulty with testing proficiencies just because her hearing deficit, that will happen, and I think there are other children that may have disparities in this too, children that come in that may have language barriers or that may have other learning issues themselves, but they make that extra effort in the effort to counter test scores. That's why they do it. But then at the end of the tabulation, when all of those points just don't exist and you go to a strict 4.0, you eliminate all those extra efforts that they've made. I understand in the final tabulation where you have a 4.0 is an A, because that makes sense, because then that gives more students opportunity for admissions. Then they can do their essays and their work is reflected. So you don't have to have a 4.33 percentage or whatever that would be for a weighted class, or an A+ adding additional points. I think in that respect, it's not needed, because I think it gives everyone more opportunity. But when you work really hard to get those extra points just to counter test grades, I know I had to do that in the university. I know I had to do that in high school. I had to consider what extra work I had to do to make up for any testing deficits that I may have.
I have just one question, but first of all,
Yes.
thank you for coming and speaking.
Sure.
Two, I wish my brother would have given me a gift to go to a nice university, walk around. So you have a great brother, by the way. So
Is it Silver
now you
Creek?
bring up chemistry.
Yes.
Are all the other grades, were they tabulated correctly?
Yes, they were tabulated. Well, this isn't really necessarily tabulated incorrectly. It's just the way that the policy has been implemented in the high school.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that
Oh,
you bring
yes.
up chemistry. I
Just
is it
chemistry.
algebra, chorus?
Yeah, just chemistry. All of the others. Well, and to be quite candid, I don't know that we spent the time to look at each grade.
That's why I was wondering, because I know you bring up one, and I don't want
Right.
to diminish any of the
No.
other ones or all the hard work. I just want to make
Right.
sure, just that when I'm going through this, I'm
No,
understanding
well-
all of that. So,
Yes,
okay.
yes. I didn't, and to be quite candid, had this issue not arisen and had Olivia not brought to
Oh, sure.
our attention, hey, I did all this work, I got these grades, and did it matter?
Sure.
I mean, really, that was what prompted me to even decide to question it or come today.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
Yes,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We were going to kind of piggyback on each other, but maybe, I'm not sure how familiar everybody is with the way the GPAs are figured at the end of the semester. If you go through that, they count, if you have an A, you get 4 points for the A. Multiply that times 3 for your quarter grade. The next quarter, if you have an A, you multiply that times 3. That's, 4 times 3 and 4 times 3. And then your test grade, your final test grade, they multiply that times 1, add it all together, divide by 7, and that's your grade. And the problem with that is that there is no weighting for A+. So you can get an A+, you can get 104, but there's no way that helps you overcome. If you boil it down, on a 50-question test on her final, she got 39 correct and out of 50. If she would have gotten 40 correct out of 50, she would have an A. So you take a whole 6 months or 5 months of work, boil it down into one test on the last day of school, and now all of a sudden, all the extra work that she did and all the studying for, extra quizzes and doing extra credit and all that boils down to one question, because you did the averages using letter grades and how much they're worth. So an A is worth 4, a C+ is worth 2 point, what is it? 2 point, I'm not sure, 2.6. I did the math already. So if you just take a straight numerical grade, 104 times 3 plus 98 times 3 plus 78 divided by 7, 97.7 average. Whereas if you use the letter grades, discounting all the extra credit that you worked hard, you did the extra work, you put in the time, and now all of a sudden, one question on the last day of school throws you from an A, which how can you go into a final exam with, actually, if you do it numerically, she would have had to have gotten a 47 on that final exam to get an A- if you do the math, if you just do a straight numerical calculation. But the way they've weighted it with the letter grades being 2.7 and 4.0, it really makes that final more impactful and more detrimental. So I'm just thinking something to think about as to whether or not that's the way we want to go forward. I applaud the notion of A's and 4.0 is as high as you can get. I know that I went to a school that had weighted grades, and I had like a 5.25 or something like that, and colleges didn't know how to take them. It was I did great on SATs and all that kind of stuff, but they didn't. Great, I had a 5 point something. What does that mean? What's the top? So going on a straight 4.0 scale, I think that's the way to go. But I don't think that I think it does a disservice to those people that want to do the extra work because it doesn't give them an opportunity to utilize that toward their final semester grade. So everybody knows a 4.0 versus a 3.9 it's less desirable. So I think just if there's a possible consideration of that, maybe making it a numerical calculation instead of strictly on grades and moving from there.
No, I truly appreciate that. And like I said, your daughter's got phenomenal grades, by the way. So
She works
it's
hard,
one
but
very to be proud of. So.
But you have to understand too, she works hard for those grades. It's not something that comes, it's not something that she can just go to class. She has to work extra hours and all that. And so for her to go through that extra work and do all the extra work and show the grit that it takes to make the grade, and then have one question fall short, it's fairly discouraging. So it's something to think about. And to be honest with you, when I started looking into it, it didn't make sense. And it really had to dig down into it. It gives that example in the student handbook with the weighted grades and the A's and the B's and how you, I'm not saying it's calculated incorrectly. But I think under the certain circumstances, it can be a disincentive for doing that extra work and showing that extra grit. So I think as a board, it's something maybe you can look at and say, yeah, maybe we make these final calculations numerically. That way people don't lose their extra, you weight things differently if you do the math different. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is only considered.
Can you speak into the?
This is only considered if you have an A plus. B pluses are accorded the plus, as far as the points are concerned. So in the example that's offered for semester grades, the example is a B plus. So a B isn't weighted as a 3.0, it's weighted as a 3.33. A C also is accorded that plus. It's only the A that's not.
Because you can't get higher than a 4.
You can't, right. Well, you can't for the purposes of if you're, I guess, how the board sees it. You can't get higher than, in the way the grades are reflected, if you can't get higher than an A plus, than an A, my daughter has a 104, which denotes an A plus. So you can in terms of the quarter. It's just where the final grade tabulation is concerned that's not accorded that plus accommodation, which is students that go above and beyond to make that extra effort to have that greater achievement. It's like that's the group that is, being, I don't want to say penalized, I think that's harsh, but just not really, it's not reflecting their true effort or all the effort that was made. But if you have a B plus, that opportunity is accorded to you. All the extra effort that you had made, all of the extra credit that you may have attained or been able to achieve throughout the course of the quarter. So I think that's a disparity in and of itself, because those high achievers don't get opportunity to be accorded the same opportunity that someone that may, or not to say B pluses aren't high achievers, C pluses. However a child attains their grades, if they make the effort, that's what's significant there. And some students make Herculean efforts, so I think that but we should award all students equally the opportunity based upon what work they performed. I think that's something to really consider, and it should be reflected so that a student understands that work translates to the, whatever it may be, a grade, it may be a work product. Again, I'm sorry to take so much time. I appreciate the time.
No, you're fine.
afforded.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Briggs, consent agenda.
Yes. So item 8, consent agenda, under letter A, finances, we have numbers 1 through 4. And under number 2, we have numbers 1 through 3. Under number 3, we have 1 and 2. And under number 4, we have number 1. And we also have Roman numeral 6. Under B, instruction, we have numbers 1 through 4. Under C, personnel, we have 1. Certified appointments, we have 1. Under positions, we have 1 and 2. Under number 2, classified A, positions, we have number 1. Under D, other, we have number 1. And then under under A, we have numbers 1 through 4. Under letter B, lunch, we have numbers 1 through 4. And then also under letter D, other, we have numbers 2 through 5. And that is it for the consent agenda.
All right, you've heard the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Franklin makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Any discussion needed? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Number 9, in your board packet, we have discussion action item, the approval of summer school stipend for Director of Health Services. Do we have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Ms. Bright makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groen seconds. Any discussion needed? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Those that abstain,
Abstain.
motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstaining. At this time, see, we don't have any directors or in the audience. Ms. Hawkins, do you have any?
No other comments from me tonight. Thank you. I shared everything in the board report.
Perfect. Dr. Ballmer?
We wish everybody a fun and safe summer, safe travels. A lot of our students and teachers and staff are traveling, so safe travels to them. So,
Dr. Briggs?
I just want to wish Dr. Balmer congratulations on his recent accomplishment.
Awesome. Ms. Franklin?
No comments.
Mr. Basham?
I'd just like to let the board know that I'll be at Indianapolis on July the 15th for the ISBA Legislative Committee. We've got a meeting on schedule July the 12th. If there's any concerns that administration or a fellow board member would like to see brought up in front of the Legislative Committee, pass that on to me on the 12th.
Ms. Bright?
Nothing.
Mr. Groen?
Thanks again for those who came out and spoke today, and also want to congratulate the golf team and also the baseball team for their advances in their sporting events. So it's phenomenal. Thank you guys so much.
And then the same, congratulations, and thank you guys for coming out. I know it takes a lot to get up in front of people and talk, so thanks for coming out. Want to wish Ms. Myers a speedy recovery. Your surgery went very well. A lot of answered prayers there. And other than that, next meeting dates are going to be July 12th at Silver Creek Primary School here in this building. And then on July 26th, we'll be at the Silver Creek Middle School PDAC room. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Ms. Bright's back on it. Do we have a second? Mr. Basham seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Meeting is adjourned at 7:28.